Hey guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. I wanted to take some time to connect with you guys on a deeper level and kind of go over what I've been working on these past couple weeks. I've been taking some time off Instagram. I've been doing kind of a soul cleansing, soul scrubbing couple of weeks. And as I've been doing that, I've been realizing that a lot of the energy that we all kind of put into social media and Instagram and what have you, sometimes it can just like go into a black hole. And I feel like Instagram kind of is turning into a black hole because I see a lot of people pouring themselves into Instagram and creating these in-depth posts, and what I realize and what I see is that a lot of it just like goes into the ethers and disappears, and then it's just gone. It's a black hole. And I've been doing a lot of connecting to my spirit guides and listening to some messages that I really needed to hear, because when you go offline, when you take time off of Instagram or social media, it can really enhance what needs to be done and what's most important in your life. So maybe you found this video link because you follow me on Instagram, or maybe you listen to the podcast because I've been talking on the podcast a little bit about how I'm gonna start shifting some of my energy over to YouTube. And the reason why I want to do that is because I feel like YouTube is a stronger platform to like reach more people and be of service. And because I feel like I've been putting a lot of energy and effort into especially my tarot readings on Instagram Live, which those are going to keep happening. I love doing those. They're really fun. But then I was just realizing during this kind of Instagram break that those readings, those Instagram Live readings that are up on my IGTV, they just like disappear and they're in a black hole, and then nobody knows about them, and then it's just like, okay. And I want to reach people, I want to help people, and I know that I'm not alone here, and I know that with COVID, this year has forced people to look at the way that they spend their time, their energy, how you're making money, how you're connecting with people, your work in general has completely changed, I'm sure. Most industries have been flipped upside down. Perhaps you're one of my yoga students who has taken my classes before COVID, in Miami at Equinox or Exhale, or in Philly at City Fitness. And so before COVID, that's what I was doing. I was facilitating yoga classes that really kind of transformed themselves into these healing sessions, these emotional healing sessions. And it started when I started doing yin yoga, when I started teaching yin yoga in Miami, and those classes really started to become more of like a mental health, emotional self-Reiki experience for the students. And that's what really activated this healing energy within me, and wanting to heal people, wanting to help people feel okay mentally. If you listen to the podcast, which I'll link below, it's very mental health based. It's very psychology based. I talk a lot about what I'm learning. I'm deep within self-study and self-learning of Jungian psychology. I've interviewed several therapists on my podcast, like the holistic psychologist, Stacy Hoke. And over the last year or so, I've really gotten so much more deep in self-reflection, self-study, and that's what I'm going to start integrating and intertwining my tarot readings on this YouTube channel. So that's the intention of this YouTube channel, is to mesh together, yin yoga and spirituality and shadow work and everything that I'm learning in Jungian psychology, which if you're not familiar with Jungian psychology, it is all about the subconscious. It's all about shadow work and digging into the psyche and understanding why we are the way we are, why we have these toxic ways of thinking, these toxic ways of being, patterns and cycles that keep looping in our lives or keep happening in different scenarios or different experiences. Toxic relationships. I talk a lot about toxic relationships on my podcast because I've been through several. I've been through relationships that were emotionally abusive, physically abusive, manipulative, energetically abusive, sexually abusive, and I'm not alone here. My story isn't so unique compared to yours or theirs. So after this whole thing has happened with COVID, and it's forced me to come up with new ways to connect with people, because teaching in a studio, I guess I just kind of outgrew it, and COVID helped me realize that that's not the only way to connect with people, because that's a very minuscule, very microscope way of connecting with people. Classes have 10, 15, 20 people. Sometimes at my Equinox classes, I would have 50 people, and that was great, and that gave me such an amazing high to connect with people on that level and to help people on that level. And I think that's when I really started to tap into this mental health psychology way of teaching yoga, because I would go into my classes and really talk about heavy shit, no filters, talk about shadow work, talk about toxic views of ourselves and toxic past versions of ourselves, and the really dark parts of ourselves that we really just want to heal, but we don't want to pay attention to them. So again, my classes started to turn into these collective therapy sessions. And now that I can't do that anymore, I really want this YouTube channel to be that. I really want to create these collective tarot, energy healing, shadow work therapy sessions together, and using the tarot as a tool. I have my tarot deck right here with me all the time, and I'm always cleansing it with these crystals. So I've been getting into tarot for the last few years, and over the last year and a half, that's when I've been really learning a lot about tarot. Every day I'm learning about tarot, and I'll always be learning about tarot. And it's a physical tool that has helped me integrate myself back into living a life that doesn't feel so heavy. Because when you start doing shadow work and you start doing therapy, or you start really trying to change yourself and better yourself, whether it's you're trying to attain or trying to release an addiction to drugs or substances or sex, or you have an eating disorder, or you deal with depression and anxiety, or you have trauma linked to past experiences or past relationships that have really tainted you. It's so easy to get caught up in these self-limiting beliefs that are actually linked to past experiences, and they kind of wounded you, they scarred you in a way, and they left this emotional wound that just keeps being reopened, and salt just keeps getting thrown on that same wound, because you're being activated through these experiences that are happening in real time right now. And then this happens to me all the time. I've had a lot of traumatic endings to relationships, and so that makes me have a wall up, and that creates these self-limiting beliefs and these toxic ways of viewing myself and this wall and this plateau that I keep hitting. And that's normal. You know, healing is non-linear. We all hear that all the time, but it's true. But what I realized is that I started getting really deep into the deep end of shadow work, to the point where I was overanalyzing myself so much, and I still do, but at this point in my life, like last year, I was in a dark night of the soul for sure, and I was in my Saturn return, and I'm still kind of exiting my Saturn return, which is a huge reason why I started implementing tarot in my healing practice, and just to gain clarity and to get messages that were more tangible. And when I started, you know, listening to tarot readings and watching tarot readings, it started to all make sense, because these cards are all archetypal energy. They all hold messages and energies, and archetypes can be in the form of people, experiences, places, transitions, changes. And, you know, tarot and Jungian psychology actually go hand in hand, because Jung was very into spirituality and using different tools, dreams, tarot, all of that. So I've realized that, you know, in order for me to get out of the depression and the darkness, and kind of like this loop, this constant loop of me looping my trauma, the toxic relationships that I went through, how things happened, what happened in my past, you know, when you're in your Saturn return, which is basically 27 to 31 or 32, depending on your birth chart, that's when shit hits the fan. And that's when tarot came into my life. And that's also when I was teaching yoga, you know. I was teaching yoga. I've been teaching yoga since I was 23 years old. And, you know, when I was in the first stage of my Saturn return, I was teaching those yoga classes in Miami that were therapy sessions for the collective. It's what it felt like, because people were telling me how much they were releasing mentally and energetically, and it just really got me wanting to help people on a larger level. So again, that's why I'm doing this YouTube channel, to intertwine everything I've learned in my life, everything I'm learning in psychology and Jungian psychology and therapy, and everything that I share on my podcast, and all of the interviews that I've done in the last couple years with energy workers and healers and doctors and therapists and, you know, experts in their field. And I feel like Instagram is, again, I keep repeating myself, but it's a black hole. And I can only reach so many people with that. And I feel like with YouTube, I'll be able to just create a more sturdy foundation. So my readings are going to be very, we're going to extract messages from the ethers, from our spirit guides, from our angels, and it's these powerful messages that come through in the physical cards. And what I'm going to do is kind of align them with everything that I've been learning in psychology, which is, again, releasing these old patterns, these self-limiting beliefs, these toxic lenses, these toxic ways of living, and we just keep looping ourselves in them, and then we wonder how we're going to get out, these ruts, these plateaus. A lot of what I'm going to integrate into these readings is inner child healing. And another big topic in Jungian psychology is the complex. So complexes are activated when you're triggered, and you can find yourself in an angry person complex. You can have a mother wound complex, which is definitely what we're going to get into as well in my readings. Healing the mother wound, the father wound, healing feminine and masculine energy within us. And I'm not an expert in these things, but I feel like this is what I need to do in order to integrate myself. I need to share these teachings, these learnings that I've been so entrenched in with you guys on a deeper level. So the podcast and the YouTube channel will kind of be this, and Instagram, so it'll be kind of like a trifecta, if you will. So the point of these readings isn't going to be like all the readings you might see with, when am I going to meet my twin flame, or when am I going to meet my soulmate, or when am I going to, it's not going to be like psychic readings like that, and it's going to be more about tapping into these layers of our mental health, our psyche, our shadow work, trying to navigate how, like physically and tangibly, how we can get through these transitions and these waves of chaos that we can find ourselves in that really do connect us back to what we've been through in our lives. And we'll make progress, and then something will trigger us in our lives, and it will activate us and make us kind of relive and re-feel this situation or this experience that we've been through years ago with that partner, or that toxic ex, or that toxic boss that we had, or a challenging phase of our lives where we were really struggling with addiction or eating disorders or body image or family trauma, family dynamics, and very like healing the relationships in our lives. I feel like that's the most important thing right now in the collective, and I feel like a lot of us are so lost right now in doing more, being more productive, and kind of beating ourselves down into this overworking frenzy, or being addicted to social media and finding validation in ways that aren't really validating us, and we're disconnected from our soul at times. Not all the time, but when we get super deep in the shadow work, we can get lost in that, and we can get so washed away in that we forget that we actually have a life right now to be living. And that's basically why I want to integrate the tarot more in my life and my healing. So, and I have been doing like private client healing sessions for people who are going through toxic relationships and releasing them, cord cutting sessions, people who are dealing with just really strong waves of anxiety and depression. And then I just do tarot readings, tarot sessions with people who just need clarity, on their career, or on a really challenging experience that they're going through, or it's all rooted in mental health. It's all rooted in how we are in our mental wellness, our emotional wellness. And when I bring in the tarot, it solidifies the messages and the true and pure and the strongest lessons and messages that we need to hear and we need to receive. And I feel like, it's also a tool to have more fun, and it's a tool to kind of feel anchored in our lives, because within the tarot comes a stronger connection to ourselves and to our spirit and to a higher energy and to source or God or whatever you want to call it. But it's a physical extraction and a physical alchemizing of all the chaos and all the trauma and all the challenging experiences that we're going through. And it's really it's opened a portal for me to help people on a deeper level and to integrate all the things that I'm learning, because it's one thing to go on my podcast and start reading off all these notes. I usually have all these notes in front of me, which is why YouTube's a little bit different, because I can't sit here and read my notes, but I do have them in front of me. It's one thing to go on my podcast and to talk about things that, I'm learning in psychology and the energy and the collective and the shifts and all that, but it's another thing to start integrating a real life tool with imagery and then connect that with all of these soul lessons and, psychology and shadow work. So, again, this year has really taught us where we're putting our energy and what truly matters. And like where we're wasting our energy and what makes life worthwhile and how are we going to feel better physically, emotionally? How are we going to dig ourselves out of the trenches of, toxic things we've been through, or even trying to just deal with the dark parts of ourselves that we're trying to, better ourselves. And so what I'm trying to say is that these readings are going to bring us clarity and bring you clarity in whatever transitions you're going through in your life, and kind of help you integrate yourself in a deeper way than just, a tarot reading about, what's about love or what's going to happen in your future. It's like, I want us to really enjoy our lives now and be able to feel good in the present moment instead of ruminating on the past, instead of harping on the future, because that creates anxiety. And since I can't teach people yoga in person, and I do have yoga classes available in my Etsy, which are virtual classes that are, I think I did my best to kind of make them the same vibe, the same sequences I would teach, talk about mental health. So I'll link them in the description box below. But these tarot readings are going to be energy healing sessions, mental health, kind of threading it all together, finding a way to integrate in the now and find ways to be happier with wherever we are in our lives without comparing ourselves to other people, without getting so lost in what needs to heal. Healing is a very important part of life, but also like living and being is a very important part of life. And I feel like that's kind of gone on the back burner for a lot of us. And, I want these readings to deliver physical ways to see situations in different perspectives, to see the silver linings in things, to find ways to really accept what has happened, to move forward, and it's okay to still remember the things that we've gone through, but to really dissolve that and move forward and be present and manifest whatever it is that we're trying to manifest in our lives, whatever relationships we're trying to heal in our lives, whatever wounds, physical, emotional, and spiritual, we're trying to heal in our lives. That's what I want to bring forward. And the tarot really does connect with the subconscious, and I think it's time to connect with you guys in a deeper way. And I'll also be peppering in some meditations throughout here, and these readings will be timeless unless it's time specific, like with a certain kind of transit or an astrology transit. And these readings will not be sign specific as of now, so it'll be kind of collective energy, just like my yoga classes. The collective, tapping into your energy, tapping into the energy of the cards that are coming through, and that's the tool that I'm going to use to tap into your energy, because that's what's going to help me figure out these lessons and these these messages and these experiences and these transitions that you're going through in a more clear way. So I hope that you will subscribe to my channel, because I'm really trying to get my channel to 1,000 followers, because in order to monetize your YouTube channel, you have to have 1,000 followers. And let's just be real, COVID has really changed the dynamic of how we make money. And right now, I don't teach yoga. I have the podcast and I have Instagram, but I don't really make money off those things. I'm currently living with family to save money and to get myself back on my feet physically, emotionally, spiritually, mentally, all of it. And there's nothing wrong with that. I'm also healing in a deep way right now with everything that I've just talked about. So whatever you're going through right now, whether it's addiction, eating disorders, codependency, relationship issues, shadow work, healing, the dynamic in your family, whatever it is, that's what I want to help you with. And it's also, a time to really focus on how we make our money, where we spend our money, what we're saving money for, what we're manifesting money for, where is it all coming from. And I really want to pour myself into this. And, the videos will probably be weekly or monthly or bi-weekly. I'm not really sure. I'm just going to go with it. And I'll still be doing IG lives on Instagram for tarot readings, but it would really be helpful if you guys could subscribe to my channel and help me get to 1,000 followers, so I can start to make this a more legit stream of passion and not only income but connection to you guys, because I just feel kind of, lost. Instagram is it's changing, and a lot of you guys have actually asked me, like, are you going to make a Telegram? Are you going to go to another platform? And I think it's time to start pushing my energy in other places so that I can connect with you guys on a deeper level. So yeah, I hope that we will connect soon, and I hope this video found you and helped you feel not so alone with whatever it is you're going through. And I can't wait to start doing these readings with the tarot and heal on a collective level.